Kamakailan lamang ay pinag-utos ng Department of Foreign Affairs na ang mga letrang PH na ang gagamitin sa pagtukoy sa Pilipinas sa halip na RP. Naayon daw ito sa international standards, pero hindi ito dahilan para kalimutan na ang mga letrang R at P. Sa UP College of Medicine, RP pa rin ang in. Ang Regionalization Program o RP ay isang programa ng Kolehiyo ng Medisina na nagbibigay ng pagkakataon sa mga nagnanais maging doktor mula sa iba't ibang rehiyon sa Pilipinas na makapag-aral at kalaunan ay bumalik at magsilbi sa kanilang bayan. 1985 ang kinikilalang panimula ng Regionalization Program. Ngunit alam niyo ba na inabot ng mahigit isang dekada bago ito tuluyang nabuo? Mga taong 1971, sa ilalim ng pamumuno ni Dr. Florentino B. Herrera Jr., umusbong ang konsepto ng regionalization.
The key person was Dean Florentino Herrera Jr. He received the letter from the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Dean Francisco Nemencio Jr., who's still around, no? But in that letter, he warned Dr. Herrera that the admissions policies of the College of Medicine was making pre-med students extremely competitive and not really looking forward to becoming good doctors for the country.
At mula sa liham na ito, nagpatuloy ang mga unang kwento ng regionalization. Ngunit mahaba-habang panahon pa rin ang inabot bago tuluyang maipatupad ito bilang isang formal na programa.
The Dean Florentino Herrera began the first circuit course. It was really the first systematic and structured continuing medical education.
This is a program where faculty members of the College of Medicine go around the country giving lectures not just in clinical medicine but also in basic sciences. So we identified what Dr. Herrera called the UP College of Medicine Men on the Spot.
An action man there locally who rallied, helped in the organization, and really contributed to the success.
In the US, there was beginning to have problems also with getting the medical graduates to practice in rural areas in the States. So meron silang mga studies din dun. And they found that in order to get a graduate, to convince a graduate to practice in a provincial community, kailangan taga rin siya. You can't get a guy who was born and raised in Manila, like me, to practice in Leyte or in Bicol and so forth. Kasi Manila boy ako eh. Mas mahirap para sa akin to adjust. Pero dito sa College of Medicine, gusto rin namin magkaroon ng ganung klaseng proseso. So eventually, the idea of regionalization was born.
Sa panahon ng pamumuno ni Dr. Romualdez, unang nagkaroon ng tinatawag na regionalization slots o mga sure seats para sa mga taga-probinsya na gustong magdoktor sa UP.
Nag-uumpisa na rin yung trend na pagbigyan yung mga Muslim. So Dr. Herrera, under Dr. Herrera, the first specific category for Muslims was created. 1 or 2 slots reserved for Muslims. And ang basis noon were recommendation of groups of mga Islamic scholars in Limang, yung mga ganun, yung mga nakakakilala sa Muslim. Hindi nakasulat yun. Pero agreement na yun sa admissions committee, instructions ng dean sa admissions. So nangyayari yun na based on recommendations from Diliman, kung sinong nakakapasok ang mga Muslim minsan outside of the regular admissions process. So nice yun, naka-establish ng principle that we should have a process outside the regular process of puro academics lang ang tinitingnan. So natugon na yung unang sinasabi ni Dr. Nemencio na puro grades lang tinitingnan ninyo. The next step was Dr. Herrera told itong mga liaison officers, liaison men niya, yung men on the spot, kung sinong piliin nyo, tatanggapin namin. Basta they meet certain academic criteria. So that started. Meron silang mga kakilala na they think na makukumbinsi nila to come back, yan ang nire-recommend nila. So regional na yun. So we had regional slots pero hindi pa formal.
Naging katuwang ng kolehiyo ang mga tinatawag na Men on the Spot. Community Liaison Officer o CLO na ang tawag sa kanila ngayon. Ilan sa mga kauna-unahang CLO ay sina Dr. George Viterbo ng Capiz, Drs. Elias Imperial at Vicente Tanchuling ng Legazpi, Dr. Antonio Lahos ng Ilocos, Dr. Angelo Manalo ng Iligan at Dr. Amparo Banson ng Leyte.
It became an established value in the college na kung sino man ang natanggap dito sa kolehiyo na kailangan magsilbi sa Pilipinas. For me, that is the most important development. That it was an established value and therefore, hindi kung mataas ang grado mo, matatanggap ka dito. Of course, madami pa rin dito na value academic excellence, pero halos naging pantay yung value of excellence at saka value of relevance na meron tayong magagawa para sa ating kapwa Pilipino.
Ngunit dahil sa ika nga ay hindi ganoon kahigpit ang pagpapatupad ng programa, nagkaroon ng problema. Inabuso ang regionalization slots.
When they get in, some of the students actually seem to have all the ideas, the motivations, but somehow during the course of their medical education, these things actually change. And therefore, as previous data would tell us, some of our graduates actually did not return to their regions of origin.
In terms of numbers we served, I'm really not very happy kasi napakadami pa rin mga alis. So ngayon at least may mga 30%, 40% na naiiwan dito.
Ang mga problemang ito naman ang sinubukang tugunan ni Dr. Marita V.T. Reyes nang palitan niya si Dr. Romualdez noong 1988. Sa ilalim ng pamumuno niya, formal na ipinatupad ang nasimulan ni Dr. Romualdez at tinawag na itong Regionalization Program.
My successor was Dr. Marita Reyes. Contemporary na, so kaibigan namin. So she bought into this program. Gusto niya yung regionalization. Pero hindi niya masyadong gusto yung medyo laissez-faire attitude. Kasi that was subject to abuse. We could have some of our own favorites. Paki-recommend mo nga ito sa regionalization. So ganun, wala kasing nakasulat na criteria. And that bothered Dr. Reyes. So she was the one who insisted on developing formal criteria, and we had to have a program that actually required go back to their regions and actually serving the regions. So hindi basta na-admit lang kayo, so naging formal yung programa.
Mas pinagtibay ang programa nang buuin ng kolehiyo ang Regionalization Program Committee o RPC noong taong 2000.
We changed our admission data. We wanted to know whether these students are really from the place. And initially we got members who are really from the region. Or doctors here are from the region who can speak the dialect, etc. Such that when we interview the students, we speak through the dialect. If the student cannot speak to the dialect, then he must probably is not from that region or must have not love his region well.
There was a need to make those criteria to be more relevant to the objectives of the program, but at the same time also carefully selecting students who would actually meet the objectives set forth by the regionalization program. It's sometimes so hard to select students, especially when the main criteria, the main objective of the program is to select which student will eventually go back to the region of origin.
Mula nang maipatupad ang Regionalization Program noong 1985, marami na rin itong hinarap na mga pagsubok. Isa rito ay patungkol sa mga RP students.
The general perception by the faculty is that it was at least many of the students, especially those who have very high grades, that the regionalization program was a factor to the College of Medicine.
So, if you are a doctorate, of course, that it will carry the stigma of being, well, it didn't go through the proper selection process.
Yung regionalization kasi parang wala na. Parang mas tinatawag mo pa dahil iisipin nila second class student ka. Parang you came in because of the regionalization slots. Kasi mas mababa noon yung mga criteria noon na parang tinitweak in favor of regional people.
And we wanted to erase the stigma. So one of the polls we recommended was whether you're accepted as irregular based on your grades, or whether you accepted because of relaxed grade requirement, you are still considered a regionalization student. So nangyari niya, nawala yung hindi na nagiging issue yung grade per se. Kundi ang common interest was people who wanted to go to, who shared the same dream.
Upang mabigyang hinaw ang issue na ito, isang pag-aaral ang ginawa ni Dr. Abdel Jeffrey Abdullah noong 2007.
When I initiated this, made the study, it was actually really to show the faculty members and the members of the medical committee that the students that we admit and select and admit to the College of Medicine are really deserving to be admitted. And my study proved me right. The students that we accepted in the College of Medicine were as far as academic performance is concerned with the other students admitted to the college.
Isa pang malaking pagsubok na hinarap ng RP noon ay nang pagtangkaan itong buwagin. Ngunit paano kaya ito nalampasan ng regionalization program?